Welcome. This service is provided by freeconferencecall.com. There is one host in this conference.
What's up? Got a few people in right now. We got, I think we're about 6 strong watching at the moment. Can you hear me out there? Make sure my vocal's good. Can we get a little thumbs up if you hear me? Just make sure everything good and hunky-dory. What's up, Mo, the trucker? Miss Sandy, how you doing? Am I good out there? Am I good? Mic check. Cool. Appreciate it. So, what we're going to do is, I got some things I wrote down about the game yesterday. I watched it a couple times today. And I got, 19 little points that I'm going to hit, talk a little bit about. And then, if my phone's act right, we're going to take some phone calls. If somebody pop in while I'm talking, I'll see if I can set it up then. So the number is scrolling across the bottom of the screen. It's also in the description. So while I'm talking, if somebody jumps in there, I'll turn it on and see if we can get it popping. It was working earlier, so hopefully it works good today also. First point I want to talk about Lamar. And what I wrote down is he looked good going through his progressions. In particularly the one play he threw to Chris Moore, because Chris Moore was not the primary guy. The little shallow route, the little flat route was the guy that he initially wanted to go to. He was covered, then made a beautiful throw on the run to Chris Moore. And what makes the throw beautiful is not the spiral, it's the fact that Chris Moore caught the ball and was able to do something with it afterwards. It wasn't just one of those catch the ball and then make some kind of adjustment, then I get tackled because I can't run out the catch. He threw it, on time, in a place where he could do something with it afterwards, and that's good for him, because a lot of times when he hit guys last year, they were not in a position to keep moving or to get extra yards. They were just catching the ball. Other than that big throw to Andrews, a lot of his throws were just catch the ball and then I got to make sure I got it and then get tackled. It's not much run out the catch. But, it was good to see him do that in the couple drives he had. And then the touchdown to Snead was really an RPO. They ran some kind of power action off of it, and he threw the flat route. And, that's the dimension Lamar gives us. So, with that being said, I like what I saw out of him so far. Really not going to put too much judgment on him until that third preseason game or once the season starts, because I know we're not going to get much of what Roman has in store. The playbook, we saw a lot of that split zone, which we all knew from last year, and we saw some basic run plays just to really against their basic. Their defense was basic too. Some basic run plays against their basic defense, so they can evaluate, who's doing what's being coached in practice and whatnot. So number two on my list is Boykin's drops. He had 2 drops. I'm gonna say 2.5 drops. The the ball close to the sideline where it was really on the tips of his fingers. That was kind of close. So, that I believe going to say he had 2 drops, but he also has some good catches. So it wasn't just this is not just a negative pile on Boykin thing. I was impressed with what I saw. I really liked his route and on the touchdown that got called back. He looked good in that, and he moves better than I thought. He really does move better than I thought. If he can get off jams, he'll be another threat to go downfield. Whenever Hollywood decides, he can play or whatnot. So I'm off the Boykin hate train. I'm on since he's on the team and he's probably going to make the roster. I'm all in on Boykin. So what's up, all the people in the chat box so far? Jared, AJ, Mo, I already spoke to him. Noble, how you doing? Noah, I see you. Miss Sandy, I spoke to local seed. Ariel, it's going good. So yeah, Arrow, not Ariel. Arrow, it's going good. Point number, let me cross this off. Point number 3. Great special teams played by Bethel on a punt. I think it was early in the first quarter. I don't even know who punted it, but Bethel got down there and covered the punt on like the 2-yard line. Those things right there is what's going to give him a chance to make the team. The fact that he can play probably every special teams and then get down there and do plays like that and make sure that he just contributes, because he probably won't crack that backfield. Probably not going to crack that backfield. And I got another point about the backfield later on, but then I'll talk about it later. AJ says he's glad they kept throwing to him. I'm assuming he's talking about Boykin. Me too. I'm glad it didn't go away from him. Throw him in there, see what you got. See if you're worthy of that 3rd round pick, 2nd or 3rd round pick, whatever we got him at, just to see if he's gonna can contribute. Moore looked okay. I don't have the film I would like to see to check out Moore's route running, because that was my thing with him last year. His speed is good. His straight line speed, his deep routes are good. I'm more concerned with his slants, his digs, his curls, stuff like that. But anything that's down the field, Moore is good at. And I think Boykin, hopefully he has the whole package. Hopefully he can run those curl routes, those deep ends, those slants. I saw he caught a nice slant. Also used his big body. That was good. But going back to Bethel, he did a great job with that special teams play. I think it was a punt. They downed it on like the 3. But that just enhances his opportunity to make the team. This is going hard to make it in that backfield, though. Point number 4. Lamar, I saw 2 bad passes from Lamar. He threw a deep ball to somebody. I think it was Chris Moore. That was way out of bounds. I don't know if he was throwing it away or not, but it just looked bad from the angle that we had from the TV angle. And he also threw a pass to somebody that skipped. I can't remember who it was. But I got him down for throwing 2 bad passes. And you could say the ball he threw back across the field, when he rolled to the right and threw left, you could say that was a bad ball, but that's probably one of the tougher throws in the NFL. So I didn't count that one at all. And so, with him just having 2 throws, I don't really remember how many attempts he had. I'm pleased with what I saw mechanic-wise from Lamar. Next one, Snead. Snead's football IQ. That's why he's gonna be our number 1 guy. He won't be the fastest. He won't be the strongest or the jump the highest. His football IQ is what's gonna keep him keep him in the game and probably keep him our number 2 receiver, because I'm still thinking Andrews is gonna be the number 1 guy. But I'm really impressed with the whoever the outside guy was on that touchdown went and blocked. And that was a good thing, because, like I said, that was a RPO. And Snead had to lift flat route. Lamar pulled it and threw it to him. And I don't know if it was an RPO off quarterback power or just power in general, because they didn't have anybody to kick out the end. So I don't know if he was reading it or what, because the guard pulled up in the hole. He faked the handoff to the running back and just threw the flat route. So I don't really know how I don't know what the run part of that was, but it worked out for us in the end. And they got to respect the run anyway because of Lamar, because he was deadly with quarterback power and quarterback counter right around the goal line. What's up, Craven? Good to see you in the chat box. Better to throw the ball too. Better to throw that ball. Yes. If you're talking about the ball across his body, right? It's either overthrow or his man catches or nobody. I agree with you on that. The next point, we saw lots of split zone, so our offense was fairly vanilla, so to speak. But we did see a lot of split zone. There was no use of hiding that because, for one, split zone allows you not to run your quarterback. It lets you. He don't have to read. It's an automatic give. It's an automatic give. So that's why we ran a lot of split zone because we didn't want Lamar running. And if I'm not mistaken, he had 0 carries, which is a good thing for the preseason. 0 carries. And that's how vanilla the offense was. We saw some outside zone, some stretch, some split zone, nothing like overly dramatic. We saw some stuff with Ricard in the backfield, which I expected to see based off the video I did from Roman's San Francisco days. I expected to see some type of fullback back there with the zone scheme. So, I did expect to see that, and I saw it. Carlo, what's good? I see you in the chat box. The next thing. 31 playing linebacker. I can't remember. That's one of our safeties that we always talk about. His name escapes me right now. But I did see him in a box a couple plays playing linebacker. Was that Levine? I think it was Levine. Chat box, tell me is 31 Levine. He was down in the box playing some linebacker. I saw him, take on some blockers and kind of shed, and I also saw him dropping coverage, which was the better part of those two traits. I saw him dropping coverage and really get out of it. That's the other guy we picked up. Okay, well, I saw him in the box playing some linebacker, and he did look bad, especially on his drops. He looked better dropping than in run support. But not to say he's bad in run support. He just looked better. Levine 41. Okay, appreciate it. So that's Tarek. He looked better at dropping out and covering whatever zone he had rather than in run support. And again, not to say he looked bad. The better of the two was his zone drops. The next one, Kenny Young. Kenny Young balled out to me. He was playing downhill. He was at the line of scrimmage in his run fits. He also had that sack where he laid the guy out. And Kenny Young was in multiple positions. He lined up in the middle. He lined up on the edge. He rushed. He dropped in coverage. Kenny Young did a lot of things, which makes him versatile. And with him being that versatile, the sky's the limit for him because the kid can run. He's tough. He's physical. He lays cats out. That hit on Minshew was pretty darn good. Pretty darn good. Jared said, I think he's a starter also. But it's going to be a battle between him and Boyd. Kenny Young laid the first challenge down. He threw down the first domino. It's on you, not Boyd. You got to show up. You got to show up and show out. He did a great job yesterday. He was all over the place. Played hard, played fast with a high motor. Kenny Young impressed me. He jumped out on film. Not very many jumped out on film to me last night, but Kenny Young definitely did it. But that sack also helped me kind of hone in on where he was on the field and whatnot. So, but again, I really like to see those things from the back view, and I don't have that back view for preseason games. But that's Kenny Young, and to me, he threw down. He put his film out there. That's his application to start, and then now it's on board to see what he can do, or any other linebacker to see what they can do and top it. But if he plays like that the whole preseason, it's gonna be hard not to stop him. So, moving on to the next point. Kenny Dixon looks like he's in better shape. He really well. Before I go to Kenny Dixon, let's tackle these questions in the chat box so far. Craven just recorded my breakdown. Let's get it. I check it out when I finish this stream. I'll go check it out if it's up, and if it isn't up, make sure you tag me when you do put it up. Do you think he'll win his starting job back if he continues to play like that? Yes. He got after it yesterday. He really did get after it. I wonder what Boyd did in practice. Not sure. After that, that was a week ago when that depth chart came out. So he might have just been outplayed in those team drills. In the practices with the Jaguars, he might have been outplayed. But we'll see. It's different when you go against somebody. The competitive juices get flowing more. You probably run a little faster. The adrenaline's going harder. So, Hey, who knows? Who knows? Let's go to point number 8, which is 9. I'm sorry, Dixon. Kenneth Dixon looked in a lot better shape than he had in the past. The Kenneth Dixon that I saw last night was not the same Kenneth Dixon that caught the pass against the Chargers and got ran down from the back. He looked more agile. He looked fresh. He looked. He had a little burst in the few carries he got. I think he had a counter that ran for about 12 to 15 yards somewhere. So he looked in shape, and he's really like he's making a case to stay on this team, or a case for somebody to pick him up if he's cut. So whatever he did, I salute Kenny for losing the weight and getting back in better shape, and just competing for a job, whether it be for the Ravens or for whoever decides to pick him up if he's cut, because he may outplay some of these guys, who knows, but he's making a case for it. And I love what I saw from all the running backs, and I'll kind of dip into that a little bit later. Number 10, Patrick Ricard was balling yesterday. He looked good on some plays at DL. He did his job as a fullback, so to speak. And I think at one point he had a sack and a tip ball or something like that. Because I think that's why I wrote down he was balling beside the little note I put. But he was all over the place. Again, being versatile. Being versatile will keep you on the team, in any NFL team. Being versatile. He played fullback, he played D-line, and was effective at both of them. That would keep you on the team. And I think he might, I don't know if he played some special teams, but I think he played one. I think it was it punt maybe. And I could be wrong on that, don't quote me. But him, Ricard looked good. I didn't think he would make the team. I thought we would use one of those tight ends as like a fullback. But based off what he did last night, I can see Patrick Ricard making it, because he showed great D-line skills, then did his thing at fullback. The fact that he was getting up on the guys and pressing them out, and finding the ball, and then also bull rushing and going making sacks. Hey, the tape. And I told somebody in the Instagram, the chat box that Ing Raven has, the game tape's going to matter way more than practice. Now, don't think practice don't matter. They do. But the game tape is going to weigh heavier, or it's going to weigh heavier than the practices. So game tape. That's your application. What you do on tape against somebody else. And I'm sure those joint practices help too, because they're game situations also. Anytime you're not going against your own team, the adrenaline is going to live more, and you kind of want to compete harder against other guys. Next point. Trace McSorley threw some good passes, except for the interception. Trace McSorley looked like a quarterback. Didn't look like an athlete playing quarterback. He looked like a quarterback that was athletic. So, with that being said, I hope we don't, again, I've said it numerous times, hope we don't make him a gadget guy. I think he'll be strictly that third-team quarterback. And, if and when RG3 decides to hang it up, he's sliding to number 2. Unless something happens and we pick somebody else up. But I was impressed with what I saw from McSorley. He looked like a poised young man that made good throws, made good reads, and when it wasn't there, he ran his own read. When it wasn't there, he ran the ball, but he also ran some zone read too. He looked not nervous at all. Didn't look nervous at all. So I like McSorley as our number 3. Maybe in the future being the number 2 guy. Trace McBrady, 6th round club. Hey, every time that guy get in my chat box, he throw me off point with these jokes, man. Ferguson Ray, he hilarious. He throw me off with them jokes. Trace McBrady, that's a good one. Point number 12. Justice Hill is fast as you know what. His burst is out of this world. It's crazy. I knew he was fast. I knew he had one of the faster running back times, if not the fastest running back time at the combine. But that cat got a little seam. Whew, if it wasn't for one or two guys like maybe grabbing his shoestring, it would have been off to the races. And I went back and watched Oklahoma State versus Oklahoma last year, and we had 3 guys from that game on our team. We had Powers, Hollywood, and Justice Hill. And you could tell Justice had another gear in it. And on the few runs he had where he got a little wiggle room, you could see it. So think about, you get Mark Ingram and Gus for 2.5, 3 quarters. And we grinding it out, and you sneak Justice Hill in there, he get a little seam on something because the defense doesn't fit a hole right. I can see Justice Hill maybe not having a lot of carries, but averaging like 7-8 yards a carry, because his carries when he get them probably gonna be big. I can see Justice Hill having a stat line of like 6 carries, 75 yards, and really like 3 of them being for 1 or 2 yards, and then a 40-yard burst. So with that being said, anytime you got a home run hitter, he is that guy. Now, I don't think he'll start. I don't think he'll get more reps than Gus and Mark Ingram, but the rotation will be good. Also I saw he with some good balance. He got tackled behind the line a couple of times, and running backs put that hand down and keep going. I saw him do that. I was impressed with that. On top of being the speedy guy. So Justice Hill I was impressed with. Hey, Kenny Dixon, Justice Hill, them 2 guys, 3, 4 cut guys maybe. But I also I'm gonna talk about the other 2 guys too shortly. What up, Juan? See what's the chat box going. I got to see it in person last night. He's gonna be a problem to remind me of Sproles. Yeah, that's a good comparison. Sproles and Justice Hill is a great comparison. I wonder if he catches the ball as good as Sproles though. Not I don't need to see it, because if he get a screen pass and get a seam, he gone. So he don't have to run great routes, but if he can catch the screens and maybe a little check down routes, he good. He gonna be good. I think Justice Hill will be huge at the end of the year when it comes to fresh legs. That's a great point. Also, and I think all of them gonna have fresh legs, because I think we're gonna play all 4 guys. Well, if we keep 4 guys. I think definitely 3. Definitely Ingram, Gus, and whoever the 3rd guy is. Well, I'm thinking it's going to be Justice. Definitely. I think we get through the season with all of them, because, Lamar going to get some carries too. But I think they're all going to be fresh when we get on that back end. And I think that's what's going to help us out toward the week 14, 15, 16, 17. We'll still have guys that don't have 300-400 carries on their bodies. Because when it get cold, it's time to run the ball, and you don't want your studs to run the ball so much in August and September when it's still 85, 90 degrees outside. That's going to wear them down. And you definitely don't want them in a crowd chamber anymore based off what happened to AB. That's crazy, but I don't even want to speak on that right now. Moving on to point 13. I didn't see much of was Antoine Wesley in the game. The one time I did notice he was out there, he was blocking on the edge and didn't block a guy, and his guy made a tackle, and it was kind of like if he blocked his guy, we would have had a nice game. But I didn't see much on him, so I'm gonna save what I have to say about Wesley till I can see him like run routes and more in the game and whatnot. And he probably played more, but I only remember that one play, seeing him in there and checking him out. But I know the next game I'll have to have my little number, my roster sheet, because some of these numbers I didn't recognize. That's why I had the problem with Tarwick early. Because I saw the 1, and I saw him playing linebacker. And so I thought I forgot Levine was 41. But that's who that was. Appreciate your chat box for correcting me on that. What's next? Cyrus. I saw Cyrus did a good job of reading the QB's eyes and his good hips on that interception. He was reading QB's eyes, but still dropping, I think, to the right. And as he got ready to throw it, he opened his hips up, jumped the route, and took it to the house. Once he caught that ball, he was gone, because with him being a punt returner, we all know he could run. And plus, we were in their territory anyway, so once he caught that ball, we all knew that was a touchdown. And also, no, just his eyes, reading his eyes on the pick, and he had good hips. His hips look real good. Now, that secondary, man, and I'm going to speak on the secondary as a whole toward the end of this little breakdown. They got after it. Our secondary really, really got after it. Let's check the chat box. Are you concerned with our inability to punch it in every time we hit the red zone? I am, but that's unfortunately that's a negative of some spread teams. They're good from the 15 to the 15, but they sometimes have problem punching it in, because when you're a spread team, and I'm not going to straight out say Baltimore's a spread team, but from their formation of being a shotgun, it's spread. When you spread team, you want to spread them this way and this way. And so once you get to the 15, you still have your width, then you don't have as much depth to that the defense got to account for. So they can kind of play closer to the box. They can maybe put more men in the box. And especially if you can play man defensively, that helps you out once we get in the red zone against the spread team. But if you can't play man and the offense still has the box, they're going to run on you. So it kind of depends on the personnel you got. It does seem to be a constant. Do we depend on our kickers too much? No. Because points in the NFL are points. I've seen the Ravens win 3, 4, maybe 5 games with just Justin Tucker kicking 4, 5, 6 field goals. I've seen, if I'm not mistaken, I watched a Cowboys game against somebody when they had Dan Bailey, and he kicked like 6 field goals, and they won 18 to maybe 14 or something like that. So anytime we can get points is a plus, because points in the NFL are premium. Remember, you don't have the Rams Chiefs game from last year on the regular in the NFL, especially once it hits Thanksgiving. Right around Thanksgiving, those points go down. So depending on our kickers, I don't think we depend on them too much. I think we would like to, as fans, we would all like to get touchdowns, but anytime a drive ends with a kick is good, whether it be field goal or punt. Anytime you can kick in your drive, you're good. You don't want sudden change turnovers. You don't want interceptions, fumbles, things like that, or turnover on downs. You don't want that. We seem to have been like this for a while though. Yeah, because we got the best kicker in the game, so we can lean a little heavier on him. That's why. If we had some slap, at kicker, I would kind of agree with you about not depending on him so much. But as long as Tucker's there, I'm good with that. And the field goal he missed against the Saints was an anomaly. That was crazy. It's crazy. The same bucked eyes he had when he missed that kick. I remember having the same thing, like, wow, he really missed that. I had the same reaction he did. But, there's water on the bridge because he's won some games with us, for us also. How did Chris Board look? I have to look at it again to answer that, because I was trying to watch different people at different times, and then it was tough to see everybody, especially if they're in the box. I can evaluate box players better when I can see the behind view, and I couldn't see that based off watching it on TV and whatnot. We all love Tuck. Which tackle do you think was better? Last night, Orlando didn't look very mobile to me. He looked. I saw a couple plays when we were running outside zone or stretch. It's like he couldn't get his guy hooked. He couldn't get outside the guy to turn. And then I saw him get bull rushed a couple times, and it concerned me. And then right after that happened, he didn't play much more after that. But and he probably could have some good plays. But when I zoned in on him, he couldn't get a hook on. We was running outside of him. Then like the next play or two, maybe 2 plays later, he got bull rushed by somebody where he just was constantly going back. He never could get his post foot in the ground and then drop his ankle. He ended up and I think McSorley was in the game by then, and he ended up right in McSorley's face when McSorley threw the ball. So as last night, I'm gonna say Stanley looked better. I love what I saw from Zeus. Also impossible to miss him because he takes some heads. Right. Now I'm saying Zeus may have had some good plays, but when I honed in on him for the couple times I did, because I was trying to watch everybody, he didn't look that good. But that's not a whole game overview of him. That was on like that one drive I honed in on him, another drive I honed in on Stanley, and then the next drive maybe I looked at somebody else. Because I was really waiting for Ben Powers to get in the game. That's what I was waiting. I was trying to find Ben when he got in. And when I did find him in there, he looked okay. Looked like he should be with. Looked like he was a rookie. So, but that's the guy I was really looking for. I was really looking for 2 guys, mainly up front. I was looking for Ben Powers on offense, and I was looking for Willis on defense. And but I'll talk about Willis in a second. Next point. Let me hit the chat box first. Did Seth Roberts play? If he did, he didn't do anything to jump out. So I don't know if he played or not. He may not have played. I know Ingram didn't play. So Seth may not have played. I'm not sure. But I know they played a lot of Chris Moore. They played a lot of Boykin. And I saw Wesley in there. Then I saw I saw a tight end that I didn't recognize, and not really sure what other receivers I saw because we were so run heavy. The game was fun to watch. We were so run heavy. Now, Jared Green asks what I think about Jalen Ferguson, which is my next point. Jalen Ferguson is the next bullet on my sheet. Ferguson was better than I expected. I didn't think his college bull rush was going to be effective in the NFL, and maybe it's because he was playing against second, maybe third string guys. His bull rush was extremely effective, and he had a little wiggle in somebody. He didn't just straight bull rush people. He did. I was impressed with him. If he can get his counter moves together to go with that bull rush, if he can go from speed to power or from power to speed, man, he can be a problem. He will be a problem. I can see why he got all those sacks at Louisiana Tech. That boy, he understands leverage. He's only going to get stronger once he gets in his grown man body, and hopefully he'll keep his quickness with that. Because if he can add some kind of spin or quick hand movement or up and under or dip and rip and some bend to go with that bull rush, it's gonna be a problem for the other edge guys that's trying to make this team. Now, I'm not saying he's gonna jump out and start and be a starter, but he has the tools to be a good one down the line. He has the tools. Let's see. Now, Coach, from the tweet I posted earlier about Kenny Young. Oh, okay. Chicago wants Vedvik. Hey, Vedvik had a good night. Vedvik did have a good night. I think did he punt also? Did Vedvik punt? I know he made the 55-yarder. He made a 40-something yarder. I know he did kickoff duties. I almost want to say Vedvik punted last night too. So he did punt last night. Okay. Donovan, what's up? Set the block for Snead on the score. Okay, I thought that was Chris Moore. Okay, I thought that was Chris Moore blocking for him. Better late than never. What's up, Javon? Monster made a couple of catches. Monster. Okay. Yeah, Monster. He was like the little slot guy, I think. That's who that was. Do you think will be the last couple of Ravens receivers to make the roster? Who do I think? Okay. Let me think about this. So let's say we're gonna keep 6. Say we're gonna keep 6 receivers. So that's Hollywood. Let me write this down so I keep up with it. That's Brown, Boykin, Snead. That's 3. Brown, Boykin, Snead is 3. I'm going to let him say Roberts. So that's 4. I did see my guy Scott make a catch, a good sideline catch, and use that height. But I don't know if he did enough to make the team. So that's 4. Brown, Boykin, Snead, Roberts. The other 2. Who would be the other 2 receivers if we keep 6? Man, that's tough. That's tough to. Who else we had? We got Floyd, but I saw Floyd play late in the game to be a vet. So I don't think Floyd gonna make it. Oh man. Whew. Brown, Boykin, Snead, Roberts. More. That's 5. So who's going to be that 6th guy? What up, Ing Raven? The 6th guy, the 6th receiver. That's wow. So I think those 5 we got are a lot. Brown, Boykin, Snead, Roberts, Moore. So that 6th guy I really don't know. Let me see. Somebody got Morris, Hollywood, Robert Scott. I would love it if Jaleel Scott made it. I would love it. I really would love it. I'm going to beat up Vivic to increase his trade value. This guy. Hey, man, he can't go through that 2 times a year. Hey, he might have took some Taekwondo, so you be careful when you try to beat him up. You be looking at you with the meat on your eye. Do I think Wesley gets stashed if he don't make the team? Yes, I do. I think if he doesn't make the team, I think he will get stashed because he showed me some things at Texas Tech that I really liked. And with his length, he could be a problem. He may make the team. He just needs to. I need to see more game. I need to see more game to say that. What up, Joe? Hey, I see you got your new situation set up. It looks good over there. Hey, I appreciate what you do and much success to you. But I'm glad you tuned in. He say all these YouTube celebrities in here. Hey, it's the Ravens flock. We all support each other. We all come together. The good thing about us is we don't try to bite each other's head off. I support Ian Raven. He supports me. Joe Nuvo, Sonny. We all support each other. It's all love over here. It's all love over here, and we work around each other. We work around each other. If I would have got on here and saw somebody was streaming, I wouldn't have set this up. I may have recorded something, put it for later, or just waited till tomorrow. We all work together. One big happy family around here. Next question. I think Canada will be cut soon. Probably, and most likely. Because I'm gonna talk about defensive backfield in just a second. All right, my next point. My guy Gerald Willis. So this is what I saw to Gerald Willis. When he was solo blocked, I saw him get good penetration. Didn't necessarily make the tackle, but I saw him get up on the guys, press them out, and try to find the ball and go make the tackle. Now, when he was double teamed, man, he rolled his butt out of there. I mean, when there was two guys on Willis, he basically was a rolling, tackling dummy because they rolled his butt out of there. I don't know if, what that deal was. He should have just grabbed grass and made a pile. But when he was solo blocked, he was getting in there when it was one-on-one. But when he got double teamed, he was invisible. Which should happen when you got two guys blocking. It should happen. But there's ways to beat it, and he's quick enough to try to split those guys like that, then go. But if he can get that shoulder between the double team doesn't exist. But the thing is getting that shoulder and recognizing it's a double team first. But when he was solo blocked, it looked like the same Gerald from Miami. Getting in the backfield, making running backs adjust their path or putting pressure on the quarterback. So, hey, my guy. I'm hoping he make the team. And him and Mac played a lot together. Just like Pierce and man, I'm drawing blanks. Pierce and Brandon played a lot together. So that first group, and then we had a combination with the second group, and then Mac and Willis was in there, and they looked good. There wasn't a lot of run spaces for the Jaguars' offense, and those three groups up front looked real good. Wormley, yeah, they did. Wormley and Willie Henry look good. I saw Willie Henry press a guy out and then spin off of him and dog would make the tackle. I'm like, man, I didn't know he was that athletic. Didn't know he was that athletic, but hey, he did. Yeah, Joe, I talked about Ricard earlier. He balled out definitely. Had a sack, had a tip ball, then the stuff he did on offense. Hey, versatility keeps him on the roster. Versatility. Next one. Now I hope I say his name right. Irvin. He looked real good on the punt returns. He looked real good. So that's gonna be an interesting battle with him and Cyrus. And the reason I say that because of the DBs we got so many good DBs where they cut him and let Irvin be the punt returner. But we got so many backs too. So it's gonna be tough. They gotta make some tough decisions and Harbaugh and DeCosta and I wouldn't want to be them. Well, yeah, I would, because that check is probably nice. I would want to be them. But he looked good. He looked good. The whole team looked good for the most part. I didn't see one guy that just was trash. But I didn't study the film like 4, 5, 6 times. Just from watching it twice, these are my observations so far. Number 18. If you watching the whole game, and if you watch the whole game, you never saw a Jaguars wide receiver running by himself. At least I didn't. You never. The entire game, you never saw a Jaguar receiver running wide open. So not only, because Earl didn't play, and I'm sure a few others didn't play, so the second and third string guys were locking people up. I saw a lot of contested balls. I saw a lot of balls being batted down as they were on, the left arm was making sure they didn't go nowhere and the right arm was batting it down, and they did it without a lot of pass interference. I remember Jaguars got a pass interference. I don't know if Baltimore got one, but we were all over their receivers. I mean, all over. So Avery's going to be Jimmy's replacement son. Jimmy, possibly. Can Anthony Avery move his way up the roster with the aging cornerback group? Yeah, he could. Like Joe said, he could be Jimmy's replacement sooner rather than later. So, but right now, It's not. Earl, TJ, Smith, Humphrey, Smith, and Carr. And see, all those guys out, and we still was locking people up. So just think about the depth at the DB position for Baltimore, unless the Jaguars receivers up. So, hey, yo, I've been hyping Averett all off season, Nubo. Yeah, some good players will get. A lot of, and I'm gonna say this because I just put it in there. A lot of guys on our roster are gonna make other rosters. A lot of guys on our roster, that second, third string guys that's gonna get cut, they are going to make other rosters, especially defensively. Forbidden Acts is there room for Kenny Dixon on his roster? It's gonna be tough. I talked about Kenny earlier, and what I said about him is he looked better. He looked in shape. He doesn't look as bulky as he did when he caught that pass and got ran down. Looked like he had a little pep in his step, a little bounce, a little burst. So, but you got to think about it. You got Ingram, you got Gus, you got KD, you got Justice Hill, you got one of my favorites, DeLance, and you also have I just called his name. Let me see, Irvin. You got Irvin. So that's six. That's six guys. So we can pencil in, I think, Ingram, Gus, Hill. Pencil in those three guys. Now, are we going to keep more than three running backs? That's the question. If we keep three, I think KD's out. If we keep four, I think he's in and DeLance goes to practice squad. I think DeLance practice squad anyway, because DeLance had a good preseason last year, got his opportunity and got hurt. But even DeLance may get picked up if he go to practice squad. And if Irvin keeps improving, he may get picked up because I like what I saw out of him. I like the burst he had. He brings value to you because he can return punts. So if he gets cut, he may get picked up by somebody. That's why I said it's going to be a lot of good players on somebody that's on our roster now. That's going to be on somebody else's roster opening day. Talked about Cyrus earlier. Cyrus, he did a good job with his eyes on that pick. And you obviously know he's a fairly decent punt returner. But we just got so many DBs that, you know, if he makes a team, it's probably going to be strictly as a returner and a special teams guy. I don't want to lose none of them we drafted to acquire, right? I wish all of them could stay. I do. I wish all of them. Every offseason, our homegrown free agents end up on other rosters. Raven GM game is strong. I agree with that. And the developmental staff or the whoever they have developing these guys, but the coaching staff does that. They do a good job of getting guys in and learning their deficiencies and highlighting their good points. Next, let's see what's in the chat box. Patriots and Steelers will be sniffing around for our cast off. They always do. Sir DeLance a lot. Hey, that's my guy. Alcorn State, baby. Alcorn State. I'll be there in 2 weeks. Yeah, we have too much talent this year. It's going to be a broadcaster during the preseason, so that practice squad is going to get picked through, definitely. I think DeCosta will try to trade players we don't need. Hey, because they're thinking about trying to get from what I heard, a 6 or 7 round pick for Vedvik. You know, if you can turn your backup kicker into a pick, hey, so be it. A huge shout out to the scouts. Huge. That's a good point. The scouting department needs a huge shout out. They're finding these gems, and I'm sure whoever mentioned Gerald Willis to DeCosta was sitting there in like the 5th round, like, wait, don't pick him. I'm sure as soon as that last pick was made, Willis was like this. Hello, Baltimore. I'm sure, because I don't know what Willis did to drop out of it completely. But Willis, if you go back and watch, if you get a chance, go back and watch Miami's first game last year versus LSU. And granted, Miami lost, which was depressing to me. Gerald Willis destroyed LSU's O-line. I mean, he was all over those guys. And that was probably the best competition they played all year, I think. I'm trying to think of the teams they played. I want to say LSU might have been the best competition they played all year, and Willis ate those guys up. Oh, I got a call on it. Let me see. Let me try to get this call situated. Let me turn this on. I'm sorry. See what we're working with. Hello.
Hello.
Hey, I got it. See, it's
Hey,
working.
so
Who I
what's
got?
going on?
Who I got here?
Yeah, my name is Quantum.
Quantum.
I'm a
Okay, okay,
Quantum agent. I
okay.
called.
Cool. What?
I
Go
think I
ahead. What you
called
want to
back
talk
just
about?
once. Um, I wanted to hear your thoughts about Miles Boykin. If you think he's living up to the practice hype, and
Oh,
also if you think Marquise Brown is going to play next week.
okay. So first of all, I talked about Boykin earlier, and I say he had two drops, and but I like what he did because they kept going to him. I like what he called a slant that I was impressed with because he used his body to get between the defender and the ball. So he didn't run a great route, but being able to have body control and know how to use that huge frame he got to separate the DB from the ball, I like that because that's you can't really coach that. That's a skill that you just got to know and know your body type and style. Um, my favorite route of his was the touchdown that got called back. He
Right.
had a good good foot fire off the line, got off the jam, and then just ran past the guy, and the ball was in the back of the end zone. He had enough wherewithal to make sure he got his feet in and whatnot. So that was my favorite catch from him of last night, and I think he's. And I was down on him earlier. I don't know if you were following me at the time. I was a huge Hakeem Butler pickup, and when we didn't pick him up, I was kind of sour. But I'm over that now because he's on the team, and I think he's going to be better than I expected. And I didn't get much tape on him because he played at Notre Dame, and I just couldn't find much. So I didn't. He was an unknown to me getting on the team. But seeing him in this was my first time really honing in on his game, and I was impressed with what I saw. And as far as Hollywood, I don't think Hollywood's going to play until the dress rehearsal, which is game 3, I think. I think we'll see his that'll be his first action because most of the starters will play 2, maybe 3 quarters of that game. So that's when I think we'll see Hollywood.
Right, but I think nobody knows if he's going to be starting yet. You know what I mean? So that's
I,
why I was like, is he really going to play in a third game, or is he
I,
going to start the second game a little bit, like a couple snaps?
I don't think he's going to start even in the season. I think he's going to be a big factor in the game plan, but I don't think he'll start. I think if we run 4 receivers out there, which we probably will probably never run 4 receivers with the tight ends we got. So let's just say we have 3 receivers. Snead's gonna be the other slot guy. Um, right now it looks like Chris Moore's gonna be one of the outside guys, and maybe Seth Roberts to start with. But I see Boykin playing a lot. I see Brown playing a lot, and probably eventually. Well, I'm going to say it eventually. Those guys probably take those starting jobs.
So I'm gonna make a prediction. I think
Go
by
ahead.
week 3 or
Mm-hmm.
4, our starters are going to be Marquise Brown and Boykin on the
Mm-hmm.
outside, and then you were going to have on the slot Chris Moore and Willis Snead interchanging on the slot, and then sometimes they might put Marquise in the slot.
Yeah, because Marquise can play both. He can play both.
Right.
I don't think Willie can play outside. I don't think Snead can play outside.
Nope.
So that's gonna help us out.
So they're going to have Roberts. So they're going to have Roberts switching with Brown on the outside when Brown goes into the slot,
Mm-hmm.
and then they're going to have Moore and Snead switching the slot.
Yes, I can agree with that. I can agree with that. We got a lot of versatility, a lot of versatility. So I'm excited, man. I'm really excited. Greg Roman has a plethora of things to do. I can see him just sitting up all night just designing stuff with all the weapons he got. And the good thing about it is you don't have one guy that you can game plan for and say, hey, if we shut down Willie Snead, we got him. If you shut down Ingram, we got him. If you shut down Hollywood Brown, we got him. If you stop Lamar, we got him. Hey,
Right. We're going to have a lot of weapons.
yeah.
But I'm gonna tell you what, though, the one person who surprised me that nobody's talking about that did a fairly good job is
Mhm.
Ferguson. If
Yes,
you notice,
yes,
Ferguson was pressuring the quarterback, and
he
he almost
was.
got himself a sack. But he was pressuring. Like people like are sleeping on him. But just because he's not making a name himself in practice,
Hmm.
practice doesn't always mean everything. There's people who do great in practice that don't develop into the game, and there's people who don't do good in practice that develop into the game.
Yep. And like I said earlier, the game tape matters more than practice. The game tape matters way more than practice. His bull rush was amazing last night, and I don't know if it was because of like Joe just said in the chat box, dominated third stringers. But you can only go against who they put out there. And if they put third stringers out there, hey, I'm gonna dominate them. So that way he may battle with first and second string guys, but he definitely dominated third stringers last night, definitely. And I think they may have gave him a half a sack on that because he was in on that sack with who got that sack? Ricard maybe got that sack. Somebody got it, but I think Jalen Ferguson
also impressed me.
He did. I didn't know he could get off the ball like that. I thought he was one of those D linemen that kind of just hold the gap. He got off the ball. He showed some bursts off the ball last night.
Gotcha. All right, man. I appreciate you. I'm gonna let other people take the phone. But,
okay, I appreciate you calling in.
Keep doing your thing. I always support the Ravens podcasters. You and Raven, Sonny. I love you all.
I appreciate it, man. We appreciate it. Thank you, man.
No problem.
All right. Hang this up. I know y'all hear that music. All right. So until we get another caller, let's jump back into the chat box. Let's see. Ferguson needs to learn more move. Yeah, he does. He does, Javon. He needs to get some kind of counter, speed to power or power to speed, and some kind of spin. He don't even have to have a spin move. Just good with his hands. He needs to get better with his hands. He needs to get better with shedding. Needs to also be able to set the edge and press guys and find the ball. Set the edge and fall back in and make tackles. So straight bull rush is not gonna work every time, but his bull rush did look darn good last night. Ferguson was trying to bull rush Zeus in practice too. I wonder did that work, Craven? How did that bull rush work against Zeus? Did you see footage of it? They still in the NFL. You're right. They are still in the NFL. So dominate whoever put in front of you. Put whoever they put in front of you. Tim Williams. I saw Tim with some get off. I did. Tim must have been the guy that with that sack on him, was half on that sack, but he looked quick. Tim almost like a basketball guy, long, athletic. He just looked like a power forward, really, like a power forward. Look like he should play. He should be better than what he's shown so far, but we'll talk about that when it comes up. Let's see, we got another call. Let me pick it up. Hello, who we got?
Hey, what's good? It's Craven.
What's up, man?
Hey, can you hear me?
Yeah, I hear you now. Turn the you got me turned up in the background.
What's up, man?
Nah, it's all fucking weird. Damn it. Yeah, I'm gonna hang it up.
You got me turned up in the background. What's up, man?
Nah, it's all fucking weird. Damn it. Yeah. All right, can you hear me now?
I hear you. Okay, I'll hear in the background. Good, there we go. What's good, man?
Does it sound all weird to you?
It does. It does. It sounds like you have a filter in front of you.
Yeah, I'm gonna hang up. It sounds like a fucking robot's talking right now.
That's what I hear. That's exactly what I hear.
Oh, there we go. Good. You hear me clear now?
Still robot.
Oh, damn it.
I hear you good now.
Good now?
Yeah, we good now.
Hey, all right.
There we go.
Damn phone troubles. I was trying to get you last time, too. Except last time it just wasn't coming through. Now it sounded like a robot.
Yeah. Last time it was my issue. You guys couldn't hear me, but I got it straightened out. So go ahead. What you think about the game last night?
Man, it was awesome. Finally, got to see some game action. It was far too long in the off season. It just takes way too long, and so everyone just gets super hyped for this first preseason game when the starters play like one drive basically. But still, still super fun to watch. See some live hits going. See how they play once the bullets are going.
Right. And they had bullets 3 days this week because those joint practices are pretty good so far. Pretty good so far.
Yeah, man. I think they were getting intense. I don't really live in the area, so I don't really get to see them. But all the highlights, at least they're hitting someone else. But once it came to the game time, obviously the Ravens took over. Dropped a goose egg. Shout out Earl Thomas, 29-0.
Right. Completely dominated those guys. Completely dominated. And it was I was impressed with just the defensive backfield. And I think that was one of the last points I talked about. No receivers were running wide open. All the DBs were locking up. So I'm sure that competition is amazing.
Yeah. And you got to think our starters didn't play, so
Marlon Humphreys didn't play. Jimmy
Right.
Smith didn't play.
Mm-hmm.
Who's our other guy?
Carr.
The old guy, yeah, Carr. He didn't play. Earl Thomas didn't play.
Mm-hmm. And Tony Jefferson.
And then Tony Jefferson didn't play. So our starting secondary didn't play, and they couldn't get a pass off. They didn't cross the 50-yard line. I don't know how many passes they completed, but from
what
I
minute?
remember correctly, they only had like 44 yards through the air, which is insane.
Mm-hmm. They didn't complete many at all. I saw a lot of pass breakups, a lot of balls that were under or overthrown, but with the DB right beside the receiver. So that was good. Whoever has to make those decisions on those DBs are gonna have a tough one. But again, like I said earlier, so a lot of those guys probably gonna pick up on somebody else's team.
Yeah, they should. I mean, if the NFL is fair and just, but who knows?
Right. It always goes the way of it's a numbers game. It's a numbers game, and numbers based not numbers solely off who's on the team, but numbers on how much you make. If a young guy makes, throw a number. If a young guy makes $25 and an old guy makes $100, and they the same in talent, obviously they're gonna keep the $25 guy. So it's numbers as far as roster spots and dollars you make.
That's true. And Jimmy Smith, he shouldn't be on the team then.
Hey, I think Jimmy's there as an insurance policy. Because I thought we were going to move him. I thought we were going to move him or make him play safety. I thought we were going to move him to another team or make him play safety. But I think Jimmy's there as an insurance policy in case somebody gets hurt or not. Well, maybe he may get hurt. Knowing him, I don't wish that on anybody, but still, he's an insurance guy.
And our D line was killing it too. So anytime the ball was up in the air, the secondary they were waiting for it.
Yep.
Our pass rush was killing it more than I thought. And normally, you're not supposed to blitz, right? Isn't that the rule? But Wink Martindale, he doesn't care.
I don't think that's a rule in the preseason. I think that's in the Pro Bowl. In Pro Bowl, you can't blitz.
It's not like an actual rule, but just one of those like, hey.
Those unwritten. Okay, I got you. Yeah. So we can evaluate. But hey, that's Kenny Young blitzed all night.
Yeah, but I mean,
from the middle and from the edge.
That's what our defense is going to do all year, anyways. So you need them. You need to practice what you play.
I don't think they're doing any crazy schemes, but they were just doing their basic blitz plan, and they were getting to them. They were swarming, and I love Wink Martindale's type of defense. I'm glad he's just staying aggressive. That's what I like to do. I don't like seeing like a reactive type defense, just waiting to see what the offense is getting ready to do and reacting to it. I see the defense making the plays, like calling a play and executing. Doesn't matter what the offense does. We're making the play before you do. I love seeing that.
Yeah, that's always good. Don't be dictated to. Don't be the dictator. Not to say that in a harmful way, but you know what I mean.
Oh, yeah.
You do. You be the one that set the tone.
Yeah, I love seeing it. Love the aggressive mentality.
Mm-hmm.
And,
hold on, I got a super chat. I got to make sure I shout him out. Kevin Spencer, I appreciate you dropping the dub in the super chat. If you want to call in soon, or if you can't call in, make sure you do that, and we can talk about whatever you want to talk about. But I appreciate you dropping that dub in the super chat, Kevin Spencer. Go ahead, Craven.
Oh, man. I was just thinking, I kind of want to talk to you about this Corey Vedvik thing, because this is
Interesting just on so many different levels, because he was an undrafted guy last year who came in, who I believe he came to the team because he wanted to practice with Justin Tucker. He wanted to practice with one of the best. And now, after he was stashed or beat up, if that's a real thing, you can't see my finger quotes, but either he actually got beat up and got stashed, or Harbaugh sent some ninjas after him. But either way, he stayed on the squad, and now he's impressing once again. And now there's talks like, hey, is he going to take over Justin Tucker or Sam Cook? And I don't think that's the case when we're just like almost putting him out there as trade bait and replacing Tucker. That kind of defeats the purpose of what started this all, because Corey Vedvik wanted to come here to train with Tucker, and Tucker was the piece that brought him. So basically Tucker is getting us this free draft pick, hopefully in the future if we trade him. And I just think it's super interesting, super awesome, like roster move kind of.
That's extremely good GMing, so to speak. But that his I don't want to make light of him getting beat up or whatever happened to him last year. But it was extremely interesting, and of the timing of it. You think? It was very interesting.
I mean, I don't want to make light of it either. I just, I love just making jokes about stuff. So
did anybody see him after
reason,
that? Did we see him, his black eye or any of that stuff?
I don't know. I haven't heard anything. Just saying.
Hey, we'll take this pick that's coming, though, because we know we got one coming.
Exactly. I think, Super Awesome taking basically a free commodity and then flipping it into hopefully a future star. And then one day, if we end up getting something like a fifth-round draft pick, the Ravens, they have a long history of having late-round guys come through. It wasn't Matt Judon was a fifth-round pick. A lot of our offensive linemen who ended up leaving and getting big contracts elsewhere were fifth-round draft picks. So, and it's just seeing that, like, from free kicker to whoever we get, like, who could be a star, I just think it'd be super awesome to see how this all plays out.
So, I anytime you can turn a kicker into a pick, that's top notch right there. Because you never know what that 6th-round guy gonna be, or that 7th-round guy. You never, he could be a stud.
Is my voice coming in robotic again?
Yeah, it's going in and out, but I can understand what you're saying. So I'm just really cracking jokes. I understand you, but it goes in and out.
Because I'm going in on my headphones right now.
Oh, okay. But yeah, I got one more point to get out, and then I'm gonna hit the chat box for a few more minutes. Then because I'm at an hour, and I try to keep it around an hour. So I appreciate you calling. Hey, make sure you tag me and shout me out when you drop your review of the game also, so I can listen to it. Okay?
Yeah, I don't know if it's already up on YouTube or not. I just posted to like an SRS feed or SSR feed, whatever it's called, and it just kind of posts out to all the different platforms.
Okay.
Yeah, I actually ended it earlier because I saw you going live and I wanted to, call in because last time I wasn't able to. So I
appreciate you, man. And again, this is, if you don't know, guys, Cravens and Raven. He has a podcast about Ravens football. He's in the chat box, so if he says it, if he types anything else, just click his link and follow him. He does a great job over there with the Ravens podcast. And always get multiple opinions before you form yours. Don't have your talking point with your buddies because I said it, because Joe said it, because Ing Raven said it. Get multiple opinions and then formulate your own. Then go get somebody and show somebody up with your fandom. I appreciate you, Craven, man. Thank you for calling in.
Thanks, you too. Thanks for having me on.
All right. Let's see what's in the chat box before we get out of here. So, do you like bend but don't break? It's effective, but I'm aggressive at heart, so I would rather just I would rather be in your face than you be in my face, so to speak. He supposedly got his teeth kicked out, so you should be able to tell. Right, we didn't see any pictures of him afterwards. Like, where was TMZ then? They're everywhere else we don't want them to be. Bennett played well. That was my last point. Bennett Jackson. He had a pick and he had a sack. Bennett was the last guy on my list. He had a pick and a sack. And on his pick, what impressed me was he read the quarterback's eyes, but the pick ended up being on the other side of the receiver. So he had to deal with all that, basically that clutter, and still focus on the ball and took it clean. So that guy was, that was good on his part. But again, that backfield is crowded. But those guys made great points to try to be on somebody else's team. They got tape. Hopefully they'll get more tape in game 2. So when they're cut, if not stashed, they're going to have tape to shop themselves to other teams. So they're making a good. They're putting a good resume out there, so to speak. Forbidden with this year's defense expectation to be better than last year's. Will we be better than last year's? I don't think so. I don't think we're going to have to be better than last year because I think we're going to be better offensively. I think Lamar's progression will help us score more points, because if he hits 60-ish% of his throws, and those throws will probably turn into run after the catch, and when they have faith in him to pass, he'll get more rushing yardage when guys are playing in man. Because I think he'll shred a zone. I think he's good enough quarterback to shred a zone. So you're gonna have to play man, especially with Hollywood out there. Maybe some two man, and then they'll have guys out of the box. And they'll have DBs with their back to the quarterback, and then it's off to the races. Pick your poison. So I don't think our defense is going to have to be better than it was last year, but I still think they're gonna be good. Because normally the front end helps the back end, but I think our back end is going to help the front end this year. Gotta love a good conspiracy. Was Lamar throwing to Andrews or Chris Moore? That's a good question. I don't know. Initially, I thought he was throwing to Andrews. So if he was throwing to Andrews, it was a horrible throw. But if he was throwing to Chris Moore, it was a great throw. And I'm sure Lamar will say Chris Andrews. I'm not Chris Andrews. Will say Chris Moore. I'm sure he'll say Chris Moore. I would if I was a quarterback. Let's see. Did I miss anything in the chat box? Again, shout out for the super chat. I appreciate it. I appreciate it, Kevin Spencer. Super chat's more important than food and water, as Vach says. More important than food and water. What's left? So I had 19 points. I hit them all. For those that were here late, I'll run through them real quick. Won't go into detail like I did earlier. But the first one I talked about Lamar's progression and how my favorite throw of his last night was the one to Chris Moore. I talked about the 2 drops Boykin had, but also the fact that they kept throwing the ball to him, and he showed improve, and he had a good the touchdown catch that was called back. I was really impressed with that. Talked about the great special teams play by Bethel on the punt. Talked about the 2 bad balls Lamar threw. One he probably was throwing away because it was way out of bounds, and another one I think he skipped. I don't remember who it was to. Snead's football IQ I was impressed with, and I'm continually impressed with his IQ. The fact that Snead is not the fastest, not the biggest, not the strongest, but he continuously makes plays in the slot. Talked about we saw a lot of split zone. The offense was fairly vanilla, so we saw a lot of split zone, a lot of stretch. Not a lot of counter, not a lot of ISO, not a lot of things that we're probably going to see with this offense. We talked about Tarwick. Looked like a safety. I think his name is Tarwick. Safety body playing linebacker. I thought it was Avery at first, but the chat box got me straight. So it was Tarwick playing linebacker. He looked like he can be a hybrid type guy. Next one was Kenny Young. How good Kenny Young played yesterday. I appreciate another $5 in the chat box from what's that? Aurel? How you say it? I appreciate it. Big ups to you on that. Whenever you get a chance, make sure you call in. Whenever you get a chance, and we'll chop it up. The next one was what was it? Kenny Dixon. Kenny Dixon looked like he was in a lot better shape. He had a good burst. Looked like he's lost maybe 10, 15, maybe even 20 pounds from the playoff game. He looked real good. Looked real twitchy, so to speak. Next one was Ricard. He was balling out there. Had a sack. Had some pressures. Had a tip ball. He did a real good job and played some fullback. The next one was McSorley. I was impressed with McSorley, and I hope we don't use him as a gadget guy. He looked like a athletic quarterback, like a quarterback that's an athlete, and not an athletic quarterback. I said that wrong at first. He looked like a quarterback first, with athleticism. He was able to pull the ball on his own read and show good bursts getting out of there, and he protected himself pretty good. After that, Justice Hill is fast. This is my next one. And fast is probably not a good enough word to describe his burst from 2 runs that I saw last night. He was a shoestring tackle away from turning on the afterburners. Next one was I saw Wesley out there for not very many plays, and I was not impressed with this blocking on the edge, which ended up getting the guy tackled and probably could have gotten him hurt had it been like a real game, because he was expected to block the guy. The guy kind of got away from him real quick and surprised the ball carrier. Next one was Cyrus's eyes. When he read the quarterback, did a good job of reading the quarterback's eyes and the ability to translate, to flip his hips. Did a good job of flipping his hips, because he was dropping, I think, to the right, but looking at the quarterback, and then when the ball was thrown, he was able to flip his hips and go get the ball. And once he caught it, we knew he was going to take it to the house, especially with it being in their territory. Ferguson. We talked about Ferguson for a while. Him being, his bull rush was a monster last night. But he also needs to develop some counters and develop some other things. But he was bull rushing the crap out of the guys that were in front of him. So he made those guys look bad, and he silenced the doubt that I had in him. I had doubt because he played at a smaller school, and I thought he just was better than those guys. But he silenced me. He silenced the doubt that I have so far. But still, it's 3 more preseason games to go and the season, so we'll see once that jumps off. The next one was Gerald Willis. Excuse me. Talked about Gerald Willis. He was good when he was solo blocked. Not so good when he was double teamed, but he gonna have to learn how to defeat the double team in the NFL. I think he could do it in college, but it's a different breed once you get to the NFL. And again, if you doubt Gerald Willis's abilities, go back and look at University of Miami versus LSU, which was their first game last year. Miami lost, but Gerald Willis dominated that game. He lived in the backfield. Tyler Irvin. I think his name was Tyler, or Irvin, whatever his first name is. He looked good on punt returns, and I think he'll challenge Cyrus for that job. I don't know if he'll take it, but I think he'll challenge for it. The next point was no Jag wide receivers were running wide open, and like throughout the game, you never saw a Jaguar wide receiver that straight beat anybody. I think Cyrus may have gotten beaten once, but the ball was overthrown. But other than that, you never saw guys running wide open. Scribbles, what's up? What's up now? And the last point I had was Bennett Jackson played well, especially with that he had a pick and a sack. So that, he making his case to probably be on another team, because or be a not a secondary, or be a role player, special teams guy with us. He did a good job in the snaps he got. So those are the 19 things I saw from the game. Can't wait for the next one. May do a vlog one day this week after my own practice to talk about some of the tweets and stuff I see, because we don't have a lot of film to go off of. And I may watch the game again and see if I see something that I didn't talk about. But the next time you hear from me will probably be a vlog type deal. Well, I'll just put it up, and you guys can get in the chat box. Let me answer a few more questions, and then we're going to wrap this thing on up. The Snead does have the nicest hair. He does. So that boy got a ton of hair in his head. I'm not going to read the second part of that. Other than Lamar, who do you see? Do I see any fantasy stars on this team? Hey, you got that draft coming up soon, don't it? You got that draft coming up soon. I got it too. And much as I love to have Ravens on my team, don't have no Ravens on your team, especially not offensively. Do not, because we got 3 good running backs. You never know who's going to just burst out that game. Now, if anybody, Lamar, because he can get you passes and rushing yards. If anybody, Lamar. But I don't see any other Ravens skill guy that I would draft on my fantasy team, because we don't have that stud guy that we got to get the ball to, so the points are going to be spread out. You may have Andrews to get 100 yards one week, and then he may have 100 yards the next 3 weeks, but still be effective in whatever he's doing, because you got Andrews, you got Boyle, and you got Hurst. So I wouldn't recommend getting any Raven other than Lamar, and I would only take Lamar later on in your draft as like a second quarterback. He wouldn't be at the top of my draft. So for fantasy, and that's the one thing about fantasy. I love fantasy. I've been playing fantasy since 2001. So this will be my 18th year playing fantasy football, and I've never had much success with Ravens other than the defense. I always go try to get their defense early. For the longest I've done that, but offensively, never really had a lot of success with Ravens in fantasy. I'm drafting Alex Collins and winning the chip. Nah, yeah, you're gonna win the chip, all right. The chocolate chip. That's about all you get. Hey guys, I appreciate you guys coming through. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe when this is done, because a lot of you comment in the chat box already. But if it's something you want to talk about, just hit the comment section. I normally get back pretty soon. It'll probably be delayed now with school starting soon. You want any of the merch, the Ravens Roundup shirts, you see the logo on the below me. Got shirts like that on the Teespring site. Got Sip the Tally shirts on the Teespring site. Bunch of different things out there. My favorite thing on that site is the Athlete shirt, and it talks about us former athletes that mentally we can still play, but your body just don't got it or don't have it. And that's my favorite shirt on there. I wear it all the time. And again, guys, I appreciate you coming through. Thank you for coming. God bless you. Good night. In the words of Russell Simmons.